In this video, we're going to be taking the Reedy Blackbox 610R and their 13.5 turn SP5 competition brushless motor and putting them in a drift car. This is the Team Associated DC10 drift car. I'm going to be putting them in, setting them up, testing them, looking at what kind of gearing we need to run with this 13.5 turn motor, everything full setup and test for using these with RC drifting. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Troy. This is Roadside RC. You'll tend to find me bashing or crawling or drifting or racing, plus doing product review videos and how-tos. I have been interested in trying these Team Associated electronics. Never had a good excuse. Now that the DC10 drift car is out, I'm going to be throwing them in here and giving a full setup. Let's start by getting these out of the box. I hope it comes through on camera. That is one really good looking motor. I mean, it's like a piece of jewelry is what it is. That is a fancy looking one. We have our sensor port. It looks like only one sensor port. We do have adjustable timing from 0 to 50 degrees. And it looks like from the factory it's set on 40, which is a lot. But it is, there we are. We have our solder tabs up here. Looks great. And so does the ESC capacitor already soldered on, which is super helpful. Wires already soldered onto the ESC, also super helpful. So all we have to do is worry about our plugs on one end and soldering it up to the motor on the other end. Note that it does not come with a fan. So I didn't realize that. So I am going to end up having to purchase one and figure out how to get one on here at a later date. Also glad to see that it does come with a sensor wire. A lot of times when you order a motor, sometimes they don't come with them, and then you're sad because you forgot. Good news, I forgot, but it came with one, so that's good. And then because I've never had any Reedy materials before, I have the little Blackbox programmer too. So you can actually, I bought that as a package deal with the ESC, so you get a little bit of a discount on it, and then that's going to allow us an ability to update software, program the ESC, which is what we're going to need to do. The first step here is the motor and the motor placement. Now obviously that's pretty simple. It goes on the motor mount. It looks like we could clock this in various ways. I may actually try to clock it down over this direction so that the motor wires can be shortened up a little bit and they don't stick up as far. Alright, motor is bolted on, gear mesh is set, 25 tooth pinions on there. I think we're in a good shape. Getting exactly where I want the ESC here to be is proving a little more difficult than I expected. The wires on it all around are a little bit short for our rear mount system. We have the capacitor that we got to do something with, whether we attach it to the ESC, whether we attach it somewhere else to this plate, I don't know. The motor wires are pretty much fine. They're going to come over here. They're not going to be an issue whatsoever. The battery leads, if I have them come this way, will be perfect length basically to go to a battery post over here on this side. I typically run bullets, but I like running my batteries this way so that I put them in the same way every time. This is not quite long enough. I don't think I can quite. Oh, it's going to be tight. I might be able to get those over there to work. The biggest issue I have is the connection to the receiver. Actually, it is dramatically maybe too short unless I put the receiver way back here. I guess one thing that's for sure, no matter what, the ESC is going to sit right here. I decided I was going to mount this is actually with the power button to this right hand side, all 5 wires up to the top. That lets me get the distances that I want to everything. It also just lets the receiver wire stretch across over here and down to using this itty bitty little small receiver from RadioLink because it weighs nothing. So I get to do that and put that right down in here. That works awesome. So don't have to extend any wires, don't have to do anything like that. Everything just fits. So now I am stealing some wire ends off of an old ESC that I'm not using anymore. We're going to start soldering up A, B, and C wires here, and we're going to put the battery input voltage wires on there. And I'm not going to lie, it took me a couple tries to figure out this one just properly. Alright, we have the controller on, and we're needing to set the ESC endpoints. One of the things that's really important with this ESC is you have to be able to hit a positive value on channel 2. All right, if your channel needs to be reversed, it will not calibrate if channel 2 is going negative with throttle and positive with brake. It will not do it. So I had to reverse the channel in the controller in order to get it to set endpoints correctly. So what we do is you hold the button until it starts beeping wildly. We have a green light and a bunch of beeping. We're going to leave it at neutral, hit it again. Now it is red. We're going to go full throttle with a positive value. Hit the button again. It beeps twice. We are now going to go full throttle brake or reverse and hit it again. Maybe. There it goes, 3 beeps. Let off. It beeps again to say everything's good, and now we have throttle. I currently have no reverse. I'm guessing that is the factory setting, is no reverse in the ESC. But we have throttle, so that's good. We're making progress. Now, I will normally highly suggest that you drive a car first in order to, see how the ESC feels as a bass tune before changing anything. But looking at the instructions here, there's a few things that I know I want to change directly out of the box. And so we're going to go ahead and hook up this programmer. It has one cable here. It's marked with the sensor plus minus on there. So is the ESC, and you can plug it in right here on the front. I'm going to go ahead and hit the power button. It immediately fires up. You can see the firmware on the black box. You can see the firmware on the ESC. Now in here in the mode select, you have a standard and an expert. If you go to the standard, it will limit a lot of what you can actually change in the ESC. So we want to go to the expert side. The first thing that I know personally from my preference is I don't like drag brake. So we're going to take that down to 0. Brake strength is then 100. That's fine. Again, I'm going to just try that at first and see what that's like. Initial brake is 0. That is fine. Boost timing. So we know we're going to run at least some boost. So I typically run 30 degrees on my motor plus 15 degrees boost, 15 degrees turbo. So we're going to go ahead and set it at 15 degrees boost right now. Boost timing is RPM. I'll put it as auto activated. Turbo timing, again, we're going to go to about 15 degrees and see how it likes that. Turbo delay, I like 0 turbo delays. When I hit that throttle, I want it to go. Turbo delay off. Slew rate should be how fast it then starts really adding in. So 3 degrees per 0.1. Slew rate instant degrees. I want it to come in real fast. Let's put it at about 6. Release rate, we want to come back off very fast. In run mode, I do want my reverse. So we're going to do that. Reverse power, 25% is completely fine. Low voltage cutoff at 3.4. Ooh, is as high as it'll let you go. So we're going to keep it at that. I believe now we just turn it off and it will save those settings. Yes, I still need to clean up the wiring mess that I have right now on that ESC, but I want to actually drive it first and make sure there's nothing wonky, that I don't need to resolder anything, move anything around first. So let's give it a test drive. So that feels pretty good. I like it. And honestly, the ESC feels great. Smooth power delivery. That 13.5 turn motor has all the power that I would want, but then also a nice control. 25 tooth pinion. 25 tooth pinion, and I have no issue with control here whatsoever. One thing I noticed is the turbo does take a minute to ramp in. It's not instantaneous like I typically like my turbo to be. So I think the ESC has just a little bit of tuning, and then it's going to feel great. Everybody always says you can't run a race motor. Oh, the magnets are too strong. Look, it rolls beautifully. The motor's not too strong. The magnets aren't too strong. It'll let the car roll just as nice. You get off the gas and just let it coast. It works just great. I don't know why everybody's so picky on that. This motor and this ESC combo in here feel great. After that first drive with the motor and ESC, I think there is a few other things that I want to change in here. So drag brake's fine, brake strength is fine. All of this, I had no issues with the brake. One of the things I like to make sure is that when I hit the brake, it'll lock up the wheels and it'll lock it up immediately, and I had no issues with that. So punch level, I'm not going to change yet. I think I may, if it goes back to it, I may end up reducing that later in order to soften it a little bit for the initial ramp up. But I do like it. When I pull the throttle, I want the dang thing to do what I want it to do. So I like leaving that punch up a little bit higher. The drive frequency at 12,000 feels beautiful. Deadband, no issues with that. Boost timing is fine. I left it to automatic, 15 degrees. So that works great. Turbo, 15 degrees. I think the only thing that I want to change here is I want to up how fast the turbo comes in instantly, but then it's still building at a certain degree per 0.1 second. And basically, I want it to just hit. I like to get into that when I really need it. So I'm going to basically put it up to the max, which just says instant, which just says when I give it that turbo, when I hit that full throttle, it's going to just throw all that timing at it, basically immediately. And then the release rate, I think I can leave all that the same. Yeah, I think everything else, honestly, is great with this so far. So I think we're good. I think that is exactly, I think it's the only change that I'm going to make, and we're going to give it another drive and see how that feels. Yeah, that instant turbo feels a lot better now. If I want to hit the throttle and get the car in the corner, I can completely. Yeah, that's driving beautifully. Beautiful. Final thoughts on this motor ESC battery combo for overall power. Truth is, it works like a dream. It works like a dream. You have everything that you need, including the little programmer, straight in the box. Bolt everything up. Yes, it's not drift specific, but it has all the tuning features that you need. So if you are, a Team Associated person and you really love their electronics in your maybe race vehicles and you're thinking about building a drift car, yes, these components will 100% work in a drift car. Small tuning and everything that you can do within the Blackbox programmer itself, and you are golden. No issues. It works just fine. No problem. What I'm finding so far, 25 tooth pinion gear works just great. I think, obviously you're going to tune that depending on the size of the track you go to, wheel speed that you need, that kind of thing. But in general, absolutely great. I have no problems whatsoever recommending this motor setup. Now, there are, of course, cheaper alternatives out there, and I've made videos on a lot of cheaper alternatives, and they will also get your car around the drift track beautifully. But if you are like me and you've used a bunch of different setups and you want to try something different, then this is a solid option that you can play with. If you are a Team Associated person and you just really want to run their stuff, do not worry. You can put this in, you can drive around the track, and everything is fine. So I hope this video has been useful for you. If you're looking for a different motor in ESC than what everybody else is running, solid choice here. I'm going to leave a link to the products down in the video description where you can pick them up yourself. I also have a Drift Tech playlist that'll be popping up over here to your right. That's where all my other motor, ESC, tuning, testing, reviewing, all that is going to be in there. So if you're thinking that this is good, but maybe you want a lower priced alternative, or maybe you want something with a little more bling on it for your fancy drift car, go over there to that Drift Tech playlist and click through a few of those. You will find some different ESCs and motors that will also work for you. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.